Hello, class. This is Dr. Hux, and we're on our last actual module for doing any homework, and this is a particularly important piece. We're going to be doing some more with the Likert Scale Responses and how to evaluate a survey. As a matter of fact, what I'm showing you here, let's just look at the lesson that we have to do. This is Module 14. And our learning objectives are to resolve a single research question and hypothesis using more than one statistical test. We're actually going to use the chi-square and the t-test to resolve the same statistical hypothesis or research question. So that's what we're up to in this. Let's look down here at the next part of this thing. Let's see if I can move this up here a little bit. And move this screen over here somewhere. There's a way to do that. I guess, yeah, like that, maybe. Anyway, let's see what we've got to do. Module 14, Part 1, it says to download the attached files above, and one of those is a template for you to turn your lesson in on. For directions and resources, tells you what you're going to do here, statistically analyze 3 demographically related situations determined from a teacher survey. In this exercise, you're going to resolve the same results of a Likert scale question. We're not going to do the whole questionnaire. We're just, as a sample, we're going to do one question. Obviously, if you can do one question, you can do 20. And there are ways you can average the whole scale up and do the whole survey at one time, but let's just learn how to do this. Okay, you're going to watch 2 videos, and they're going to show you how to do this. One's going to show you how to do it by the chi-square method, and one's going to show you how to do it by a t-test. Actually, they'll start with the t-test first and then say, let's do it with the chi-square. So you're going to download and print the material and use SPSS and get a copy of Brian Cronk's 8th edition out. You're going to need to use that to respond to this. Let's look here at Module 14, Part 2. Later, I'm going to put you in collaborative groups, and you're going to share your responses on the course project with your collaborative group, the course project that you actually turned in on Sunday, today, when I'm recording this. And what's this? Module 14, Part 3. And from now on, continue to be organizing and writing your course project. And be sure and confer by email with your collaborative group once I have assigned you to a group. I'll put you in these groups, and I'm going to try to place you in groups where you're doing a similar sort of thing, where you're similarly resolving your hypotheses with the same statistic, or it's a similar type study, something like that, so you can ask questions of each other. And I don't mind that at all. I think that's the best way to learn this, so we'll do it that way. And again, I will assign you those collaborative groups soon, just as soon as I see what you turn in on the last module that we did. So we're going to work on Module 14. Let's see, there was something important I wanted to say about this. Oh, yeah, just be working on that course project. After you do this assignment, I won't be giving you any more assignments as such. And this is going to be due on December the 7th. The final copy of your chapter 4 is going to be due then. Now, in between now and then, you are going to turn in a draft copy for a grade. And then from there, you'll have a couple weeks or whatever it takes to get the final copy turned in. You probably need to have someone read your chapter 4 project. You need to have someone read it for grammar, syntax, punctuation, APA style, because that's what I'm going to look at. This is as if this was one of those serious moments in your life on your dissertation project. So let's do it right, because once you get this finished, you can go. You do not have to fear writing a dissertation. You will be able to do it, and that's what I want from you. So let's go back and review what we're going to do here. you're going to watch this first video, and it's going to be solving the problem I send you. We'll come back and look at it in a minute with t-test. And then at the same time, you're going to do it with chi-square. Now this thing goes into reformatting data. I'm not asking you in the problem I'm sending you to reformat any data, I promise you. So it will be pretty straightforward. Let's look at these things here that we have to open up. Let's look at the instructions first. Let's see if I can get that open. I about used all the memory up on my computer. It doesn't like to. Let's get this thing up here where we can look at it. Okay, let's look at the instructions to this. I can't. Yeah, here we go. Module 14. In this exercise, you're going to resolve the same question, actually, of our Likert scale in two statistical methods. And here's what you have. And there's a data table, and I've already have it in SS for you, so you don't have to worry with that. 20 teachers and 20 principals from different schools in Arkansas responded to this survey question. The new teacher evaluation system, which we call TESS in Arkansas, because some of you may not live in Arkansas that are in this class, has improved instructional practices. In other words, that's the comment you're going to kind of evaluate. And instead of having a 5-point Likert scale, I've got this one. 0, you disagree. I'm not 0. The first choice is going to be a 1, actually. Disagree. Second choice, neutral or agree. You can only pick one. So here's what these 40 responses were. And you had principals, which we labeled 1, and teachers we labeled 2. And so you're going to have 40 of these when you go. We'll see the data table in a minute, and I'll open it up. And then you have 2 other independent variables. What are they? Socioeconomic status. And 1 is low SES, and that's the lower half of your free and reduced lunch rate or whatever it happens to be. And 2, it doesn't matter. We've got it set up in there. You can set these up the way you want to when you do your own survey. You can decide who's low and who's high. And this second response, this gives the actual dependent variable, looks like response. Here's your 2 independent variables. Whether you're a principal or a teacher, that's an independent variable. SES is an independent variable. And this is your dependent variable, the response level on this survey. And there are 40 rows in this table when you get it, and it's already put into SPSS. After watching the 2 videos, here's what you're going to do. You're going to determine if there is a significant difference or association. And I say significant difference because that implies the t-test, or association implies the chi-square. So that's what we're looking at. That's why I verbalized it that way. Is there a significant difference? Now, what does that imply? That implies a t-test on the question, because we're using 2. Question response between teachers and principals for job category as measured by the t-test. I'll tell you what to do. Paste all t-test tables. So here's how you're going to respond. This is format. So when you do the t-test, right here it says paste all t-test output below this line. So when you squeeze that in there, it's going to, separate it and give you another. I think there are going to be about 2 tables, maybe 3 for the t-test. We'll look and see here. And then do the chi-square, and there's 2 or 3 tables that you put in there for that. I can't recall. I've slept since then. And then you're going to provide a statement regarding the results below this line. And that's where you use Cronk. Go in and look and see how Cronk asks you to reply, how they call it phrasing the results to a t-test, and how you phrase the results to a chi-square, and follow that format. It's sort of like an abstract, but not as involved. But that's really what we do in most cases. We don't get as involved as we see in those abstracts. Now, here's the next question. Is there a significant difference on the question response between teachers and principals for SES? So the first one was on job category, and the next one is on SES to the response. and you're going to use the t-test and the chi-square, and you're going to do the same thing. So it says when completed, this could be as many as 5 or 6 pages because of the number of tables. And I don't want you changing them to APA or anything. Just cut and paste them or copy and paste them out of SPSS. And when you get some of those tables, especially that t-test table, it is very wide and it doesn't fit on the screen. But if you'll click up in the left-hand corner of that table, there's a little arrow up there, and there's a thing called auto fit. When you click on it, you auto fit that to the width of the screen, to the window is what it says, and that'll pull that table together and make it just like it needs to be. So you auto fit that to a Word document. Let's go back up here and see now if we can open one of these other things up and look at it. I've printed the code book for you. Let's see what we've got here. Let's open it. Yeah, there's the code book for this. You've got teacher or principal. That's 2 values. And what are the values are 1 and 2. And I show you on that table. I think 1 was principal, maybe 2 was, 1 was teacher. That's it. 1 is teacher, 2 is principal. That's what a code book's for, isn't it? So that's the row. And then the next one's SES, and you've got 1 for low, the lower number, obviously, 2 high for high SES students. Now, actually, it's not students, it's the schools from which these people came, whether low or high SES schools. See, we've got, up here in the first one, we have 20 teachers, 20 principals. And here we've got 16 schools from low SES and 24 from high. So that gives us our 40. Question response. Here we go with dividing that up. The values, disagree, neutral, and agree. That's your only 3 choices. So, okay, now we've looked at that. You have that. So let me minimize that. And let me go to, okay, there's something I was going to tell. Oh, yeah, you see, I kind of have the code book up here at the top of this table. Let me minimize that. And let's go look at the data. And let's see if we can open that. It takes a while, again. My computer's a little slow. It takes a while to open that up. Maybe, yeah, here it comes. I'll have to move it over there. Okay, let me move this over here. Here's the data from SPSS. And the school ID is A, B, C, D, E, F, A, A. There's 40 of those. And you see, I was real creative. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, principal, teacher, teacher, principal, whatever that is. SES, I probably followed some pattern there. Who knows what it was. And then here's the question responses. I did this pretty randomly, and I even have, disagree, neutral, and agree. That's 2. So you have the data. Let's go ahead and look at this other part down here. I've got to get, let's put it in variable view. Let me get that back down here for you. School ID is a string. That's just AAs. Teachers, numeric. These are nominal variables, 1 or 2. Socioeconomic status, a nominal variable, 1 or 2. And then the question, because it's on a Likert scale, is a scaled value. And so you can solve it with, you can use this with parametric statistics like the t-test or the ANOVA. And so, what you're going to do when you want to analyze this, you just first go up to analyze, and you want to compare means. So you try to go over there and get an independent samples t-test, hit that booger right there, and you see I've got all that stuff in there. And the test variables, well, what are they? I remember the first time it's going to be the question results. And the next one's going to be the grouping variable. Let's say we're going to do it with SES, and we put that over there. Well, you've got to define the groups. You come down here and put 1 and 2. We put 1 in there, and then we put 2 in there. And then we continue, and we don't need any options on this. Let's just go ahead and do this one, see what happens here. It's working itself around over here on the other side of the screen. Let me see if I can get that in there. We're going to have to close this pretty quick. But look, there it is. I've resolved it. There it is with a t-test. You just do the same for a chi-square.